There's something about the Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump fiasco that is going down that the media is not telling you about. And it really underscores the entirety of this administration's policy and how the American people have responded to it at large. And before we get into all that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. So it was on July 7th that Attorney General Pam Bondi emphatically stated that there are no Epstein files. It's a Democrat hoax. Nothing to see here. Do not worry. Just don't worry about it. Go home, everyone. And this is just shortly after the months prior where Pam Bondi said the Epstein files are on her desk and ready to be released, to no avail. And now they're telling us that they don't exist at all. And this has ruffled the feathers of quite a bit of people in the MAGA world. But it's not really for the reason that they're saying it is, which is we need to protect the children from trafficking and from sexual exploitation. It's not about that. It really, really isn't. First, I'm going to show you here a post from Donald Trump's Truth Social, where he in fact got ratioed for probably the first time that I can ever remember in Donald Trump's social media career, where for some of my older viewers who might not know, being ratioed is when you make a post and you get more people commenting under your post than you get likes. And what that is indicative of usually is that this post is really, really not popular and people are really speaking their mind about how much they dislike the post. And so we'll head over here to Truth Social. So as of right now, this post on Truth Social by Donald Trump talking about the Epstein files, I'll read a bit of it here in a second, has 45,000 replies and 41,000 likes. Clearly, people are not happy with Trump saying, "What's going on with my boys?" and in some cases, gals. They're all going after Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA. And I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration? Okay, not going to go on and reading all that nonsense. So interesting pivot here. Trump's trying to retrofit the conspiracy to direct it towards people on the left. So it's we have these files ready to go. We're going to release them. To these files don't exist. To the files do exist, but they are written by people on the left. And to anyone with their head screwed on and has been paying attention whatsoever to American politics at all in the last 10 years, they would have known the first time around, right, that when Pam Bondi and the administration was sort of being very wishy-washy about whether or not these Epstein files were ever going to see the light of day, anyone with their head screwed on would have known that's because that there are a lot of Republican people who would be implicated in those files, and Donald Trump very well may be one of those people, given how close of a relationship he has had with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell over the decades, where they seem very comfortable with each other. And Trump has said all sorts of grotesque things about his own daughter. And who can forget his infamous beauty pageants that he went to Russia and had, and the Russians gathered Kromponant on Trump because of his obsession with these beauty pageants. And really the fact of the matter is that Trump being involved with Jeffrey Epstein and perhaps going to this island these are not things that anyone really should put past Donald Trump. Whether or not it's true or not, the reason this is hitting so close to home is because of that fact that many people in their minds, they would not put this past Donald Trump. And in Trump's mind, what's happening is he's going, wait, aren't you guys all okay if I was involved with Jeffrey Epstein? He must be very confused, right? Given his proclivity to say nasty, awful things about women and his multiple instances of sexually assaulting women, including E. Jean Carroll in a New York City dressing room where he was found liable by a court of his peers, as well as all sorts of allegations that have been levied against him, including one from, unfortunately, a girl who was only 13 years old who claims that she was raped by Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump when she was just 13. And that one of the things that Trump said was that the reason he was so attracted to this 13-year-old girl was because she looked and reminded him so much of his own daughter, Ivanka Trump. Oh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Just God, just unthinkable, unspeakable things. So Trump, in his mind, he's going, wait. I've been saying this stuff for decades and decades, and I thought you were all okay with this. I thought this made me cool on being able to get young, beautiful women, but so he must be very confused that there's backlash against him at all for this sort of behavior. But here's the thing. This backlash, what it is really showing us is how disastrous of an administration that Donald Trump has had so far for anybody making less than $250,000 a year, let's say, where you have huge swaths of Americans who have sat back and watched themselves get screwed over and screwed over and screwed over time and time again. And I think you have a lot of MAGA people out there who are looking for any sort of way to save face where they're able to say, oh yeah, I was never a fan of Trump at all. I don't even know who Donald Trump is. Who's Donald Trump, right? I've been saying this for years that there will come a day and age where the Republicans are going to act like they don't even remember who Donald Trump is. This happened with George W. Bush. The very minute that George W. Bush's presidency was seen in a negative light, they ditched him, and boy, is he happy that Donald Trump came and swooped in and took the title of worst president of all time from him. That's kind of a different video. But ultimately, what you have here is a lot of MAGA voters out there who are being affected by tariffs. They're being affected by the big, beautiful bill, taking away their food stamps, taking away their health care, not giving them the tax breaks that they were promised. And ultimately, you have an elite of this country who have got what they wanted from Donald Trump. And they are more than happy to see the American media lap up this story and continue to talk about this story, because the more people are talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, the less they are talking about just how much the American people, the middle class, got fleeced by this big, beautiful bill, the largest transfer of wealth from the middle class to the richest in this country in the history of our country. And the elite, they've got what they've wanted. They will throw Donald Trump to the wolves and not think twice about it, even after everything that he has given them. And with the American people that are all of a sudden all morally aghast against what Trump is doing, or allegedly has done, and in this long-standing connection that he's had with Jeffrey Epstein, and now you have the administration going, we don't want to release the tapes. You have an American people who nobody likes to be wrong, right? Nobody, absolutely nobody likes to be wrong about anything like under the sun, much less something as consequential as who they support to be the leader of the free world. And it just so turns out that there's been a lot of buyer's remorse that's been going around this country in the groups of people that put Trump back in office. And I think those people are genuinely looking for a way to, in their heads, right, say that they took some sort of moral high ground, or that there was some sort of line that was crossed. Ultimately, that their morality was pushed to the edge and they could no longer support Donald Trump with a good moral conscience. But really, if Trump's administration was benefiting people in any sort of way, if Trump's administration was accomplishing the things that it set out to accomplish, other than, you know, the things that they said that they set out to accomplish, which were complete lies in the first place, other than this mass deportation campaign, which again is hitting many MAGA business owners who are going, wait a second, those were all my employees you just deported. Now I can't operate my company. People are taking this out where in their heads they're able to convince themselves they took a moral stand against the president, when in the end all of this information about the alleged connections between Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump have been there for a long time, right? Way before the election in November. It's just that what you had a bunch of people who were consistently lied to on such a consistent basis from all sorts of different parts in the media, and Trump himself and the Democrats, who ultimately didn't do a good enough job of calling out Trump's lies and offering an alternative solution that actually is going to help the lives of the American people. And what that has ultimately led to is this backlash seeming like it's popped up out of nowhere. But we're going to continue to see this, because really, you know, I don't want to say it's too little too late. It's never too late, right? But ultimately, the Republicans have the trifecta. They have the trifecta of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And really, I think we're seeing a movement that is going to get everything that they can and go as far as possible using the federal government, the executive branch, to solidify their power for years and decades to come. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these. Well, the Supreme Court, for one, you know, that's going to have long-standing effects. And really the sort of the destruction of various different American democratic ideals that Trump is seeking to strip away. And he would love nothing else to just not even have any midterm elections whatsoever. But ultimately, the elites, they realize that they might have only a certain amount of time to do the damage that they want to do to enrich themselves as much as possible. And they got that with this big, beautiful bill. And now that the big, beautiful bill has been passed, the elites no longer need Trump. They'll throw him to the wolves for just about anything that they feel is going to benefit them a single penny, right? And again, you have this huge chunk of the American people who have gotten screwed over by every single policy point that Trump has implemented. But they're never going to admit that to you. They're never going to go, oh, hey, liberal guy over there, you know what? You were right about all of this, how much of a disaster Trump's administration would be for our country and how it would strip the middle class of huge amounts of wealth, and Trump would basically only seek to enrich the elite of this country and do nothing else for anybody. Yeah, you were right about that. And you know, like that's not going to happen, right? That's somebody like that's a huge part of somebody's identity for years and years and years, and just to say, yeah, that's not me anymore, right? I'm not down with that. It's too much of a logical leap. It's too much of a cognitive dissonance, right? That's caused in people. So really, the Trump supporters, they're relieving their cognitive dissonance by pretending that they're taking a stand for children, when in reality, nobody would have put any of this stuff past Trump even before the election ever freaking happened. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.